All right, let's get down to the business of all businesses, ladies and gentlemen, to welcome back to the GLOAT podcast, episode 20, ladies and gentlemen. Man, oh man, guys, you viewers can tell there's going to be a lot of interesting things in this, ladies and gentlemen, and with several topics to talk about, guys. It's going to be great. For the last couple weeks, it's going to be interesting, but to be honest, guys, for the last couple days has been more interesting than my last podcast that I actually made. And when I'm talking about that, you can talk about how much I talked about the MMA fights in the last episode, but man, oh man, you can talk about history in the makings. Well, no history can be more talked about as the Olympic Games. Now, heard on reports, ladies and gentlemen, for all competition, we're already in several days in the Olympic Games, and the Australia, as recording this, as it's day 2 of July the 28th right now, Australia has 6 medals, 4 golds and 2 silvers. The country of France, their hosting country, has 3 golds and 2 silvers. And look at this, 3 gold medals for Korea, Japan, and China, having even matches there. I did saw one of the competitions in Japan, which I actually really was excited when I actually saw mostly in competition after multiple events, which was actually surprising. I never watched a lot of everything, ladies and gentlemen. I never watched a lot. I don't want to watch a lot of things because I don't want to take my mind off of watching Olympic Games because I have a career to do on YouTube. So just to let you viewers know that. So I don't want to get this over my head. It's even crazy because I later realized that someone stated that Japan scored their 4th gold medal recently to up the ante in the lead. So congratulations, Japan, for taking the lead. I actually really enjoyed watching women's street skateboarder Koko Yoshikawa. She did a damn good job. I give her respect. She's a great woman. She did an amazing job. She's 14 years old, for God almighty. Guys, I'm 11 years older than this woman, Koko Yoshizawa, and she managed at 14 years old. Jesus. Like, guys, how can a Japanese woman like that do... I know it's not a high score. Even also, they also have silver medalist Liz Akama. She also went on to skateboard in the streets as well, and she finished 2nd in that. So I don't know what the hell to say. Good job for Japan getting on. Guys, even if Japan doesn't take the lead for long, I'll give them respect. A Japanese woman, guys, I even heard about a Chinese woman that went to the diving meter in 2021 Olympic Games, but she wasn't young enough. She was 13 years old, but then due to COVID, they had to go to 2021 Olympic Games, so she was 14 years old at the time, so she was eligible to join. And oh my God, when I saw her performance, this Chinese woman, small, did some wild perfect dives. She is so damn awesome. I hope she's in the Olympic Games right now because I can't wait to see that. Like, these Asian females are friggin' unbelievable. They're more unbelievable than men. Crazy. Oh, yeah, and Simone Biles from the gymnastics. In gymnastics, we heard that, this is the second topic I like to talk about, is that gymnastics player of Simone Biles, if that's how you call her, actually has a little bit of an ankle or a ankle problem or something. I couldn't find information online yet because I haven't seen it in the last few hours, but mostly I hope she'll be all right to represent her country. They're in the qualifying rounds of the Olympic Games. Oh yeah, and this is a USB drive, not a whistle. I wish it was. But we just hope she'll be all right and continue on. As everything else. I know China is going to make a huge leap. Guys, if China doesn't become... Guys, I'm going to be honest, guys. This is my third topic I'd like to talk about. The 2021 Olympic Games was so outrageously shocking. I actually went to a Chinese restaurant a day before the end of the Olympic Games. I said, well, congratulations, China, for getting the most gold medals in the Olympics. And they did. Guess what? I later realized there was footage of the women's volleyball champ in the gold medalist, and they won. Surprisingly, that gold medal gave them the top medal table for winning the most gold medals by 1 against China. It's a great thing that China got their revenge, getting 3rd place in the medal table in the 2022 Winter Olympic Games, ? I think it was. Let me go back and look that up. there is Olympic Games and the Winter Olympic Games of who got the most medal table there. Oh, no, fourth place. China got fourth place. Oh, man. So they both tied for America for the most gold medals at 9. Germany got 12 and Norway got 16. Oh, but the United States got 25 medals total and they got 15. Oh, man. Guys, if China does not get their revenge back for... Guys, I am voting for China to get the most gold medals in 2 weeks in the Olympic Games. I wish them best of luck because I think they deserve a chance to be in the top. They did it in 2008 in their country, but I think they should deserve it to do it in another country to do it. I give respect for Japan. They got third place, but consider they don't get a lot of medals in their careers. But yet again, it's great that they're in the lead for one. So if this video is uploaded tomorrow and they're not in the lead anymore, I can still question their nice Japanese woman that managed to get a gold medal and their other getting a silver medal. And you know what? If that's not going to be talked about in the next 10 years, I'm going to talk about it because I was the first to talk about it. So, yeah. But still, guys, we're only a couple days in, and after watching an awesome competition of women's skateboarding, which is more competitive than I expected. Maybe not competitive than the men's, but it was fun. It was fun. And I'm actually happy that they brought in skateboarding. By the way, guys, here's the fourth topic I like to talk about. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I did make information about this, that professional boxing and women's boxing is just so out of control. Now, there isn't a lot of competition, and I understand, but this is going to be interesting, and I might as well talk about it sooner than later because it's pretty interesting. And but you know what? I'm going to save that topic for another time, guys. I'm going to save the topic when I get to that moment of the match. I know what boxing match I'll talk about. Let's just talk about this fourth topic for me again. If people haven't heard me the last time, I don't want to repeat myself again, but I have to. Now, ladies and gentlemen, here you viewers have to understand. Now, considering this, it is going to be interesting because I found a lot of surprising information today. I do find this interesting that you have the heavyweight division in women's boxing stated that it's at 200 plus pounds. But it's okay if you're at 168 plus pounds. Yet again, it's weird because there's also a cruiserweight or a junior heavyweight division on Wikipedia that says that question mark. But yet again, it's at 200 pounds even. But yet again, there's no division playing at that level. There isn't. The light heavyweight division allows you to be at 175 pounds at that most. And that's it. So it still gets me the goosebumps. Because, and guys, this is what makes this moment interesting. Now, guys, here's the belts. Now, guys, as looking this up right now, I now finally realize that the WBO heavyweight champion is now part of the women's boxing. And just to point this out, guys, the Ring magazine belt is not allowed in light heavyweight, cruiserweight, or heavyweight because there isn't a woman boxer fighting for undisputed. It just isn't. I just don't know what to tell you, viewers, that it doesn't make sense. But here's what makes things interesting. Now, the light heavyweight in women's boxing does have a WBA and an IBF and a WBO, but no WBC. It's weird that the cruiserweight and the junior weight division does have an IBF and WBO, but no WBA or WBC. So it doesn't make sense. Why won't they just get rid of that cruiserweight thing? Because there's no one fighting for it. Like you could say, Clarissa Shields is going to fight for a cruiserweight title at she goes up an extra 1 pound at 175.5 pounds or something, or a quarter pounds. Still, it doesn't make sense. And guys, so like I said before, guys, not only that the WBC and the IBF is a heavyweight belt in the division of women's boxing, the WBO is also there. So even though there's information saying that only 2 of the 4 majors are in women's boxing in the heavyweight, but now we have a third. So the WBO is there, but not the WBA. I don't understand why they don't have a WBA belt. I don't understand why it's taken us so long to not get a WBC light heavyweight belt. It just goes to show you, viewers, why there's not a lot of women boxing as we're speaking. And that brings me to another topic that I think we're all going to talk about and enjoy, because, guys, something tells me that even though we're almost a year away from the first quarter century of this century, of the 21st century, it might as well be Claressa Shields bringing us into this division in the world to have more females like this. I hope we get there. And that brings me to my fifth topic. Claressa Shields versus Vanessa Paige for the WBF heavyweight and the WBC World Heavyweight and the WBO World Light Heavyweight. And still, they're still saying if Claressa wins, she will be a 4 weight class champion. Welterweight, well, super welterweight, middleweight, super middleweight, and light heavyweight, and heavyweight. You count that 4? I have 5 fingers here shribbling like crazy right now. There's more than 4 weight classes that's Claressa's won. So the fight starts out interesting, and before the fight starts, it's just so hilarious. I managed to write down a lot of information here, which is interesting. Like I said, the following contest is already excluding enough fighters here. So Dimitri Salida is the promoter. I do know a little bit about him, but he's not mentioned as much. So Vanessa Paige gets announced first, even though she's the champion. The crowd boos because who gives a crap? But when the guy says, in the announcer saying the next person wearing pink and gold trunks at 5 feet 8 inches tall, the crowd is already losing their mind right now. But it's even crazy because he announces all the championships that Chris has won, all the silver champion and super middleweight, all the champions and the Pan Am American champions, the world amateur champions, Olympic. He announces everything. It's so crazy. Like, what the heck? So the fight starts out. They move on. Championship fight. Like I said, guys, it's already going to be an interesting information. So here's where I wrote. Okay. So the commentator stated that there's nowhere higher for Claressa to go, which I wrote. So Vanessa leads out, runs straight after her, almost like Pierre McNeely did against Mike Tyson, which was okay. That got me because I didn't know that Vanessa was going to do that. 20 seconds in the fight, she would charge after Claressa and knock her out to the ropes a little bit. But for the first several seconds, there is going to be some jabs once in a while, and Vanessa would go some upstairs, and Shields would try to back herself together. Like I said before, like when Vanessa charged after her, that was crazy. But she did throw a punch, just like how Pierre McNeely juggled, like he skipped to the rope to try to throw a punch for Tyson to throw his punch back. And then they started barraging punches at each other. That's not what Vanessa did. She charged after her and stopped and then punched. So about a minute into the fight, there's nothing much you can say. They were already holding themselves together. And this round went by so... Like, they were studying each other in the first round to get each other going. I understand. There were some good close jabs in the fight, but with only a minute and 40 seconds into the first round... I'm looking at maybe Vanessa won this round, but Claressa might have won this round. It was an even round. It didn't seem like no one was going to win this round, but the last 20 seconds, they throw out a punch. Claressa throws an unbelievable left upstairs to the cheek, and then she backs Vanessa to the ropes. There was throwing out punches after punch combinations. She blocks her to a corner, turns her around, and Vanessa's trying to clinch against her. She turns her body back to get out of the ropes, and Vanessa and Claressa are trying to throw out punches. She's trying to block them. The bell rings. Good start for round 1. So, yeah, it was a first good round. And by the way, while I'm at it, I also looked up on BoxRec and looked up the score, and it stated that 8 fans on BoxRec scored it. And the score was 9.88 to 9.13. Okay, so I guess maybe that's because there weren't. I'm sure if there were 10, I'm sure if there were 10 fan scorecards, maybe it would have been a 10. So I guess who knows? I guess that might have been the reason. Yet again, who knows? So anyway, they're already studying on each other for the next round. And as the person blows the whistle for the start of round 2, we have this woman in the audience with random sunglasses, and she's putting her face like this with her reaction going, God, this fight is going to be so damn boring. Like the camera's clear on her, right? It just felt like she didn't want to be there. It's so funny. The camera cuts to a crowd in the audience, a few crowded fans just jumping up like crazy, just dancing, doing this crazy. Like, for some reason, a woman with a red purse is having a good time while holding on to her phone. Everyone is having a good time, but this little girl is just, oh. I started paying attention to her all the time. So the second round starts, and again, Vanessa charges after Carissa like she did again in the first round. They start throwing out punches, but crazier enough, around 20 seconds in the second round, Vanessa is getting backed into the ropes, but she manages to clinch it away for Carissa. And then at this moment, while looking at the girl with this time with her hands down on her laps, the little girl just looking, and like I said, she has random glasses around to her sleeve right here. And more, and at the same time, after Vanessa turns her body to back Carissa into the ropes, like a George Foreman type move, she charges in. She goes for a right, misses, goes for a right again. Carissa ducks. She goes left, and like she threw out a right, and a left. She was throwing fast punches, but Carissa just couldn't stop ducking them. And after that, she just threw combination after combination. Down goes Vanessa. She kind of bent her right leg, which is so uncomfortable when I barely saw that. And I see the girl in the audience, and this time she has her hands like in shockness. While everyone in the audience is out of it, a woman next to her is just out of her mind. She's going, yeah! But her reaction was like, it was great. Like, it was so great. I think she was trying to cover her ears because the crowds were screaming loud. So maybe it wasn't her reaction of shockness, but I think she was just trying to cover her ears because the arena was loud, I guess, but it was loud. So Vanessa gets back up, starts on a fight. She backs up Vanessa in the ropes, but it wasn't that good enough. She tries to get out of the way. Vanessa did. She turns to the right, but not good. Vanessa throws a right. She misses with the left. But down again, Vanessa gets back up. Vanessa's trainer is now entering the ring trying to stop this fight. And whether this was going to be a 3 knockdown rule or not, even though there wasn't, I'm sure the referee would have stopped the fight anyway. And thank God he did, because Carissa just throws this unbelievable right punch. And it seemed like well, first she actually fakes right, and then she punches again. And that's down. It was a pretty good ending fight. The crowd's onto it, and Vanessa didn't hesitate to enter the ring. It was a great fight, and one of the photographers is actually, it's weird. There's a guy with glasses and a white shirt holding on to his daughter, and this weird photographer is bending this way to take photos of Carissa because she's standing onto her corner to the ring celebrating to her crowd for some reason. I don't know what that cameraman was doing. Like, he was getting closer in for some reason, but I think it was, at the end of the day, everyone's taking pictures, so there was nothing weird about that. But yeah, they celebrate, they show replays, they show Vanessa's trainer just shaking her head no and just not feeling bad. They show replays of a great right punch that got hit by Carissa. They show the right punch in the second knockout, but they didn't show the third knockout. The camera cuts to Carissa celebrating. She hugs out the trainers and Vanessa's team, and then she goes up to her friends in the middle ring, and they're losing their mind while there's a couple ring card girls just putting their hands like this, just holding on. But Carissa's friends are just out of their mind, just celebrating everything and just posing with everything. It was a great fight for what it is. But here's something interesting. The commentator says here, that for Carissa has won, like there's getting the hardware, getting the WBC, and also picking up the WBO light heavyweight title. And this is something interesting the commentator said. The 175-pound division has different names according to the sanctioning body. So technically, Carissa Shields kind of pulls the Sugar Ray Leonard and Donnie Lon 2 division fight in 1988. That's not what he said. I just said 1988, but mistaken it. But yeah, that's actually crazy. It still doesn't make sense. And it's actually funny because I didn't know Sugar Ray Leonard actually fought in the 2-weight division. I knew he took on a guy named Donnie in 1988. I looked it up, but I didn't know when I later looked it up, it was actually a light heavyweight title and a super middleweight title. So that kind of shocked me. I didn't know that. I think I did. It's been a long time, but yeah, good call on him. I would have never remembered that. But yeah, they announced the winner of the fight, winner, new champion, new WBC, WBO, light heavyweight, world heavyweight champion, etc., etc. The GLOAT, the T-Rex, Carissa Shields, and Carissa just screams at the camera. Carissa's crazy facial expression after she's saying, "How you like that? How you like that?" She says it 3 or 4 friggin' times at the camera of the viewer. Like, what the hell? Is she like fucking Scott Steiner yelling at Judy Bagwell in 98 after Scott Steiner low blows Buff Bagwell and clotheslines on his neck on the top rope and yells at Judy, which was the same night where Rick Steiner, his brother, is yelling at Chucky in a Titantron, their promo, and the Warrior and Sting versus Bret Hart and Hogan match. Funny match, by the way. But it's like, what the hell is Carissa Shields? Like, her facial expression was so devilish. Dude. It was a great fight. I enjoyed it, and I loved every bit of it. It's great to see a step up. And guys, I looked it up, and this time Carissa Shields is in the heavyweight division. And in history of BoxRec, Carissa Shields, in my opinion, 15-0, 3 knockouts. And by the way, she might be the first woman in BoxRec history to ever be 5 stars at number 1 and 5 stars in BoxRec in the heavyweight division of female boxing. Crazy. I later looked it up that Vanessa LePage was number 2, but as looking up right now she is not in the boxing ranks for some reason. I later realized that she is now at number 2 in the light heavyweight champion, ? I kind of makes no sense. and speaking about this, guys, like I said, there's only 21 females in the heavyweight, and a bunch of them, like I said before, 15 of them have a win and the others don't. Even around 12 of them have multiple wins but still losses, and some have, like, there's just not a lot of competition in the heavyweight division. Like I said before, the light heavyweight division has the same thing. It's like 23 females, but still a lot of losses. 14 of them have a win out of 23, and most of the 11 of them have half a star or nothing. And even a bunch of them don't even, there's just not a lot of competition. So I just hope this can bring up a good beatdown of what will happen in the future. I would like to see what Carissa Shields will do, and it's going to be interesting. There's going to be some interesting things that are going to happen. Considering after 5 topics I'm talking about today, and there's a couple more topics I will talk about now, but as for Vanessa LePage, it will be interesting to talk about what she'll be doing as time comes. But yet again, I will say this, though. Here's a couple things I want to say about this. Vanessa LePage, like I said before, 7 wins, now 2 losses. Both of those losses by 3rd-round knockout against Jimenez in 2017. She retired, came back 6 years later, fought some fights against nobodies. Well, her last fight in 2023 was a 3-1 person win, and then she won against a 10-1 person, got the WBC heavyweight title, and now she lost by round 2. It's crazy of how Carissa won this fight. Like, she knocked her out in 2 rounds. Crazy. And it's crazy because in her second professional fight, Carissa Shields won in March 10th, 2017 against a 15-8 person, got her by round 4 by TKO for the North American Boxing Federation middleweight title. And then she went up to super middleweight for a few pounds, defeated Nikki Ador in her fourth fight in August the 4th, 2017 for the IBF and WBC, winning her by round 5 TKO. Yeah, this was 2 rounds. That's the quickest win she's ever had in her career. And surprisingly, August the 4th, 2017 to July the 27th, 2024. That's like 6 years and 355 days without not knocking after her last knockout. I might be wrong. Let me know in the comments. I'm just guessing here. I'm just guessing. I didn't look it up, but that's a long time. Almost 7 years since she last knocked out someone. And she did this in 2 rounds. And by the way, just to let you viewers know, if you viewers think that if someone once did say that if you're at 170 pounds, you are eligible to be in the heavyweight title picture. Well, guess what? Here's my 6th topic I like to talk about today. And this is a woman that has a daughter. She is married. She did retire at her time when she did, considering she was in her amateur boxing years. She managed to have some great, interesting stuff in her career. Around the time, like I said before, 9 or so years ago, she stepped out of boxing while wearing a beautiful black dress with pink boxing gloves. Awesome pictures, by the way. And her name was Chi Kaniwi. This woman is we don't know how tall she is. People say that she's 6 foot tall. And her height is probably built perfectly. So who knows? This woman had her debut fights when she was 171.25 pounds. Like, her height and her difference in her height kind of does match it differently. So that could be an interesting fight for her to take on Clarissa Shields. But the thing is, in her first fight division, stated that they're promoting it as a heavyweight champion. But people don't know that if it was a light heavyweight champion, considering she was at 171 pounds and her debut fighter was 180 pounds. So technically, that just made it more confusing. She fought for the Australian National Boxing Federation Australian light heavyweight title against Kate Langenhorst in a debut fight in June 24, 2023, which was another woman that was also on her debut, and she was at 161.25 pounds, and she was 168.5. So she kind of missed weight, but it actually says this was for the light heavyweight division. This was a light heavyweight title, and the woman she was fighting in her debut, in that woman's debut, was 161.25 pounds. That's a super middleweight division. What? And then her next fight comes in October 14, 2023, and she's 169.25 pounds against this woman named Sequita Hemingway, a woman that was 200 pounds, and she was 2-3, which was her record at the time. And this was for the Australian National Boxing Federation Australasian heavyweight title, vacant. 169.25 pounds. Guys, if I had to calculate that, like 201 pounds, that's by 2. That's like friggin' 31 and 3, dude. 31 under 32 pounds. Sheesh. Like, that's, I don't know what to say. That's it's crazy. She even won that fight by split decision, and she fought in a rematch against a woman in March 23rd and won in a dominating 8-round fight. It's weird because her first professional fight went on in 4 rounds. It was a 4-round fight. There's no time stoppages, but she won by round 4 TKO in the last round. She won by majority decision 6 rounds by scorecards 60, 54, 59, 56, but one decided to go 57 even. And their third fight against Hemingway was 60 to 54, 59 to 55 for her, while her opponent was 58 to 56 by split decision. Her rematch was 80-73, 80-72, and 79-73. Yeah, interesting scores. And then on July the 20th, she decides to take on a friggin' past prime fighter. I don't know what to say. This woman coming out of retirement in her boxing career, she comes out. And her first couple of fights are debut fighters, and she takes on a woman that had 2 wins and 3 losses. She beats her twice to fight for a WBA World Light Heavyweight title. And this took place on July the 20th, last week ago, in her country. And she takes on this Colombian 38-year-old woman that her height, depending on how tall her height is, 14 wins, 7 knockouts, 4 losses, and 3 draws. Angie Paula Racha. This is actually surprising me, because it surprises me that when looking that up, that was just thinking to myself, okay, this is crazy. And surprisingly, guys, originally the bout was supposed to take place on July the 3rd, but the bout was canceled due to an event postponement due to the main event cancellation. So they had to fight it 17 days later. And even though information of upcoming fight confirmed, there is no record that she has won the fight, but on BoxRec it does. But this woman, Angie Paula Racha, 14, her starting careers were out of nowhere. She had fights in 2000, 2002. She retired on, lost her first fight in a Colombian lightweight title. A lightweight title. That's how small the woman was. 8 rounds, she loses, comes back in 2003, a full year against a nobody. She takes on a somebody in 2004, loses 6 points decision. Back in 2005, a draw. She goes back in 2006 against Duda Yakovic, 2-0, and this woman was somewhat of an interesting contender back in the day, but her boxing career came to an end in 2009, so her championship hopes were gone. Yeah, she knocks her out in the 4th and final round in Brazil. She comes out in 2006, fights a fight, wins, draws in 2007, and by the end of 2007, with a fight against a debut fighter win, she retires. Comes back in 2012, wins against a debut fighter, takes on a journeyman 23-10-3 by majority decision, 4 rounds, and about a month and a half later. She continues winning a couple more fights against somebodies, I guess. Then she retires again, and then she comes back in 2015, scores a 6-round split decision draw, and then she retires again. This is what her career was. It was lame. Like, a few losses in her career. She hasn't lost since 2006, and she's already in a drought right now since 2000, since she debuted. Comes back in 2022. She lays out fights, and she lays 4 professional fights against fighters that were 2-3-1, 7-7-2, and 2-4-1. And her fight with a 7-7-2 was now 7-8-2 because she had a rematch against that same person in December. She fought in July. She had her first match against her nobody opponent in August. Went to October, had a rematch against her second opponent, as I said, in December. And then in February of 2023, she wins. And now she's trying to get a big push back in competition. And March the 10th, 2023, she takes on Raquel Miller, which is now 13-0 in her career. She's been boxing since. This heavyweight female hasn't been back since that fight. She defeated Paula in the first round by TKO. And I don't know what to say. This woman had 24 years of boxing since 2000 to 2024, and she never had a title shot at that time until 8 days ago. She was 38 years old. Yeah, 38 years old, and back in September 9th, 2000, she was only 14 when she started boxing. And now she's 38 years old, taking on this 29-year-old tall woman that's more fit than she is. Look at her weight problems at the time. Look, in 2022 in July, she was 192 pounds, went to 190 in August, and then in October she was 159 pounds. Then went back to December 2022 to be at 168. Her weight was changing drastically. 165 pounds in February the 24th during her win. And then 3 weeks later, she was 185 pounds. And now she was 170 and a quarter pounds during this fight against Keneally, which she was at 174 and a quarter pound. She barely had a shot for the light heavyweight title. So that makes sense, but man, it was not a title fight to talk about because Keneally didn't have a lot of competition at the time, which goes to show you why it's so hard to be a boxer in the top division when you don't have a lot of competition, and it's easy to think to yourself you might be in the ranks, but other fighters in other countries might not go to your planet, or you might not go to their planet country and fight them. That's how hard this division is for the women in the light heavyweight and heavyweight, even super middleweight and middleweight. There's not a lot of competition. And this woman, like I said before, even in 2012 when she came back in 2015, unknown, we don't know. Oh yeah, and her fight in 2015 was against Callisto Salgado, her fight against Yeon Mi Choi in 2020, which now Yeon Mi Choi is a bummer in Korea. All her fans are done for. But still, in 2012, when she came back in 4 fights, she was at 159 in April, June 141, 160 in June, July 180. Her weight was really out of it. I'm surprised. So guys, there is no footage of this fight. Like, there was an interesting fighting situation at the time, but we don't have information, and I'm gonna look it up right now. Keneally versus Racha, and YouTube Shorts. No, nothing there. There's no footage of the fight. There is no footage. The only video footage that's live at the time was Angie Racha making her appearance for the world title by YouTube channel TCB Network, which at the time he also released another video footage of Keneally's ring walk. They were both ring walks. And then he also uploaded a video called Keneally defeats Angie Racha via TKO to become the new world. It was just the video, the YouTube short was just a video of the announcer announcing the winner, and she's on her. The footage shows her right here. They get her on. She's cheering. The person puts the belt around her, and she's a tall woman. She's a really tall woman, and of course, her trainers grab her on her legs, and she's cheering to the fans. I don't get, why is there footage of the celebration ring walks, but there's no footage of the fight? If people don't have footage or archive footage of this fight, I'm going to be upset. As long as there's fan footages right now, please release the footage on YouTube so I can watch it. I really want to review it, just to know what happened. Because the only information I know that on BoxRec, it says WBA World Light Heavyweight title. Keneally wins by Racha retired in corner at end of round 3. The fight ends in TKO, and that was it. That's all we know. Keneally, I can't say much about this other than it is what it is, but still, I want to know if there's any point about this because, yeah, who knows? It might bring in some interesting factors, but yeah, again, who knows? So, yeah. So I think you viewers can clearly understand what I'm talking about. Like I said before, just like her second professional fight when she took on a woman that was 161 and a quarter pounds, even though it was for a light heavyweight title, and her at 168 and a half pounds, still doesn't make sense why you should go for a light heavyweight title. Yes, she was over 168 pounds because if you're at 168 to and a quarter to 175 pounds, you're allowed to be in the light heavyweight title. But this woman, at her debut, it just goes to show you, viewers, this doesn't make sense. And guys, here's some of the females that are in the light heavyweight. Lonnie Daniels, which she's actually number 1 in the rank, 36 years old, IBF World Light Heavyweight Champion, former World Heavyweight Champion. Vanessa LePage, she's at number 2 in this ranking. Abril Argentina, her loss, she's at number 3. Kenui at number 5. Angelica Lopez at number 5. She's 14-2, Mexican. Angie Paula, 14-5-3, number 6. Yes, she's there. Another woman named Bolatito Aluwal, a woman from Nigeria, is 9-0, and on September the 7th, she's going to take on Lonnie Daniels for the IBF World Light Heavyweight title. And here's something interesting. Since she hasn't taken on a lot of interesting competitors at her time, except taking on a couple debut fighters and a few fighters that have fought a couple of times but no wins, an undefeated fighter at one point. In September 24th last year, she took on Selena Aglu. I don't know much about the character of who that woman is, but still, she defeated her to become the Kenyan Cruiserweight champion. Cruiserweight? Now we have a Cruiserweight title on the line at that time in a women's boxing match? Holy crap. Guys, I got to start looking up these records more. She fought in December last year, so now she's going to fight her 10th professional fight. And you know what? If this Nigerian female can win it, you know what? Give it to her. I think she might become champion. She's 9-0, but even all the other competitors, like, look at this. Number 9, Sarah Swirch, a 6-foot-tall, 30-year-old female. Not a lot of interesting competition in her, but you know what? She has knockout wins, but still, I hope she has more to show us. Man, like Marcielo Garcia Mendoza, 2-4. Like Pinar Kaya from the country of Turkey, 1-0, and her win was against another person from Turkey last April. Yeah, sure. Yeah, she's not going to make it far. Like Maria Saida, 1-0 in her win. I guess it was her fight against Gerardine Hurtada. That's now ranked number 22 with 1 loss. I guess those were their debuts. And there's Arza Delar, her loss against Pinar Kaya from Turkey as well. Yeah, a lot of these females that have losses were already in the rankings because of the fighters that are in the top. Yeah, this goes to show you guys there's not a lot of competition in the division. What about the heavyweight division? Clarissa Shields, obviously. Stefani Mafanglot, female from Australia. She's number 2 in the rankings, 3-2. Rosianna Cox, 2-0, and not much interesting competition to talk about. Number 3, Razel Mohammed, 3-1-2. Not much to talk about her there. Tinta Smith from New Zealand, 2-1-2. Number 5, Danielle Perkins, 5-0. I've remembered she already had her last fight, not long ago, like yesterday, in the same arena with Clarissa Shields. Good job. I hope that will be her next fight. Sequido Hemingway, yes, this woman was not much of a good competitor. Yep. Yeah, guys, I think there's a lot more to talk about, but yeah, again, there's not a lot of interesting female fighters in this division. I think this is going to be a real bit hard to find female boxers that are interested in a sport, unless if they're like basketball players, but yet again, this is really tough to talk about, but man, oh man, this is going to get tough. Very tough. So we have interesting type of information to the time where we talk about whether or not, you say, where we can say to ourselves, what are we going to do? Most importantly, guys, this right here can bring me into a whole different level of understanding. And considering I'm talking about Olympic boxing, as I'm now looking it up right now, so be patient with me. I'm just looking it up, so sorry for wasting time talking slow. The Olympic Games is pretty interesting. Like, I would like to congratulate all of them. Like, don't get me wrong, boxing was wild at the time. Like, there were some great moments, great wins, like heavyweight winner Jalolov, the winner with Richard Torres. He's the only Uzbekistan fighter to ever win the gold medal. Not bad. And then you have this female in the flyweight named Stoika Krasteva. Great win, even though she's 38 years old. So I don't think she's going to fight again, considering she is not going to be in the division. My favorite fight would have to be Senna Iri taking on Nesty Peticio for the women's flyweight gold medal, which was actually a pretty good fight for Philippines and Japan. And that woman did a good job. Even though she's 23 years old in Japan, I'm actually rooting for her as to be in the division. She finished second in the Asian champions at the time, which was it is what it is. It is what it is. Even though her loss was against this Kazakhstan woman named Karina Ibragimov. I don't know if she has a relation to the other fighter I'll talk about, but still. Good luck with her. Even Kelly Harrington, another Ireland woman, interesting enough. Busena's Turkey woman wins in welterweight. Lauren Price, a woman that should have been an interesting big deal in boxing, is actually doing an interesting job considering how she became a champ when she defeated Jessica Mascal in May the 11th, 2024 for WBA and the ring. And her time in boxing is just not better than Cecilia Breckhouse. She just got lucky winning because Lawrence Cole, the worst referee of all time, helped her defeat Cecilia Breckhouse. Pisses me off that the rematch was a squash. I'm still pissed off about those fights. But then when you talk about the men of boxing, Julio Cesar La Cruz, a 34-year-old guy that has 2 wins, will make that 3 wins. And he's not boxing as much, even though he is in the Bridgerweight division. And then you have light heavyweight fighter Arlen Lopez, light heavyweight gold medalist, and he's also 2-0 since his fights in May 10th, 2022 and September 18th, 2022 by both first-round knockout. And he decides to fight in the Pan Am Games at 80 kilograms in 2023 in Santiago. What? I just find it interesting that a lot of these countries decide to just continue doing heavyweight or amateur boxing. Like, look at this. Middleweight winner and a gold medalist, Herbert from Brazil. I'm not going to say his last name. Like, he has a 5-3 record. He's growing on. After his win the gold medal, he's doing an interesting job winning out fights in the middleweight. He won the Brazilian super middleweight title, so it's interesting enough, that was last June the 15th in his 6th professional fight this month, last month ago. Look at this, welterweight winner, Raniel, the welterweight winner, I'm not going to say his last name. He's also 2-0 at the time, and considering his resume in BoxRec, might not put in a lot of interesting stuff because I can't find it. Here's BoxRec. His BoxRec records, he's rated number 229, and he's 4-0. His last fight was in November the 3rd, 2023, and his competition hasn't been that much since his debut win was against a 7-1 fighter. Yeah, I just hope we get more competition against that guy, even though he's 35 years old, so his time might not be long. Andy Cruz, the lightweight winner in the Cuban, considering he's 3-1, he's won the IBF International lightweight title in June against a random dude that has a long record, a long-time journeyman, a guy with 35 wins, 7 losses, 3 draws, and he fought since 2004, and that was his debut fighter, and Andy Cruz fought him in his debut. in 10-round unanimous decision. Unbelievable. Like, there's just nothing you can say about that. It's just unbelievable. He fought again December the 9th. Not much to say about it. But it is what it is. He retained the belt, but also won the WBA Continental Latin American lightweight title, and which the guy was 26-5-1. Then he took on a 14-2 fighter named Brian Rodriguez. 10-round decision again. His second fight was round 3 KO. So yeah, and retained the belt. And now he's retaining it again in August the 3rd, which is also at the same building with Terrence Crawford and Israel Madrimov and David Morrell in his title win. Yeah. Okay, so Andy Cruz is going for his 4th title shot. Gold medalist is going to fight. He also fought last February, like I said before. So, yeah, let's see if Andy Cruz has a chance to get a 4th win next week. He was a champion and gold medal 3 years ago. But, guys, the last 2 are somewhat random. This featherweight winner named Albert from Russia, not much to say about his work. And I really can't say that he has what it takes. Like, he's 26 years old. He's from Russia. He's 11-8. He debuted in his fight in July 3rd, 2021 during COVID. He won the WBA Asia East Super Featherweight title. He decided to take a full year off, fight in the Olympic Games, but of course he fought in August the 22nd, 2020 to win another round in the final round. January 29th, 2021, he wins again, and then takes months off to go to the Olympics, win the gold medal, and then October the 11th, 2021, he won the vacant WBO European featherweight title. Interesting. He also won the IBF International Featherweight title on December 24th, and another knockout. Was the competition that's tough? Well, who knows? In his country, maybe. In April 3rd, 2022, he won the EBP lightweight title. Come November, he won his 7th fight, also by decision, just like his EBP title. February 3rd, 2023, he takes on an interesting type of a fighter that was somewhat of a former WBA super featherweight super champion in 2016, but his career went down below, and surprisingly, he lost at a bad time. So, former champion, not bad. July 28th that year, he won another fight by 10 rounds, and that's it. Has there been anything else about him lately? Technically, I really can't tell, because technically he is 11-0. Considering that, well done. Considering his fight with that fighter was 17-0, he also took on a 20-0 fighter in October, 5th round knockout. And then he defeats Jono Carell in July 12th this month for the WBA Interim World Super Featherweight title. But the thing is, he got knocked out in round, like, I really don't know what to say. He got knocked away is a little bit hard for me to talk about, because Jonathan got knocked down in round 9, really beat up. He got back up, but got his butt beat more by Albert. Which goes to prove you that Albert has a really strong arm. Like, he's 11-0, 8 knockouts. He's 26 years old. His alias name is Alba, A-L space B-B, capital letters, all capital letters. But the thing is, he barely almost won that fight with the judges' scorecards being 78-74, 76 even, 79-73. So I don't know if his super featherweight is going to give him that much. Like, yes, he's a southpaw fighter, but yet again, I really can't say he has what it takes yet. He's fought for 4 years, so give him some time and he might win a Super Bowl. But He is rated number 3 in the super featherweight in box rec. Like 2 on behind with American Andres Cortez, 22-2-0. He's 27 years old. He's won out belts, titles and such since 2016, but still hasn't done much. Even the Japanese fighter 15-1 Masanori Rikishi has done some interesting stuff right now lately, and he's number 1 in the rankings, but he's not a champion, so there's not a lot. The super featherweight doesn't have champions in the top ranks. So, yeah, I don't know if he has what it takes, but I'll wish Albert best of luck if he can improve. But, yeah, again, what about the flyweight? Flyweight gold medalist Gala Yafai. This 31-year-old guy is 7-5. His fighting went the same way. Like, he went to O2 Arena in his debut in February 27, 2022, wins the WBC International Flyweight title. He retains it in April the 30th against a guy that was somewhat of a former contender back in his day, but his career came to an end before he was going to get bigger there, and it was over. So, win there. He retains the title on November the 5th, 2022. Barely wins by split decision. If it isn't shocking already. But at this moment, is there a chance that he has what it takes? Well, he tried to improve it on April Fool's Day in 2023. He did better. 4-round TKO against a journeyman. And then he retains the belt in August last year against Tommy Frank. First round TKO. The cornerman threw in a towel. He went 10 rounds by unanimous decision in December, and that's it. April the 6th, his last fight, defend the title again. Yet again, I really can't say if that's much to talk about, but still, his split decision win does question me a little bit, because when I looked up the resume, it stated that mostly in my record resume, like, the fight was barely, in my opinion, a 50-50. I almost gave it 5 rounds to 5 for both of them. It should have been a draw, in my opinion, because it seemed like it. Like, he did do a tiny bit of the aggressive fight, so maybe he would have won 6 rounds. But I guess it goes to show you that he wasn't ready. That was his tough fight at that moment before he started taking a little bit of somebody's, but still. Yeah, even though Yala is number 12 in the rankings in the flyweight, but yet again, I just don't see a lot of interesting competition with him. It does get me to the point that he might not have what it takes. And I really do mean that. But yet again, I might be wrong. Yet again, guys, what can I say about all these Olympic gold medalists in the 2021 Olympic Games? Like, considering there's 13 of them, and considering how you even have all of this going on right now, like, I really couldn't tell you, viewers, how hard it is to be in the Olympic Games, even when you're in your 30s and you're winning gold medals, but that doesn't make you the greatest. There is a lot of problems here, I would say, but I think we have to save that for another time. But that being said, thank you, viewers, for watching this episode. With that being said, the GLOAT podcast is out.